Hey, today I'm going to give you 5 recommendations on how to make your team so much better. And they're free and they're easy to implement. So I know that sounds like, oh, what is she up to? But really, what I'm up to is that I think these things are very easy to implement and that they're free. I ran this at Seagate and we got an 8% rise in the close one. So I recommend doing it. Apple believes in clarity and not letting their sales team go rogue. So if you want to do this, this is a great way to implement having your reps feel supported and having a lot of clarity around execution. The more clarity you have, the less noise you have, the better tool set you have, the better support you have, the better results you're going to get. So let's get to it. So the first thing I want to suggest is making your expectations very clear. Don't let your reps try to guess what great looks like. At Apple, there was no questions about what they were supposed to do next. They knew. They were given a process to follow, and they followed it. And there was a lot of discipline between sales and marketing. The message was the same. There were no rogue PowerPoints on everyone's laptop. It was clear what they were supposed to do. And if you make it very clear to your team, what great looks like, they're going to know how to do it. What you want to do is support them in this adventure and let them know what great looks like. And they'll figure it out once they see how much they get your support and praise from their peers for following this process successfully. Make things clear. Make what a really good discovery call should look like, what the questions are, what the pattern is to follow, what active listening means. What does it mean to ask an open-ended question? So if you ask close-ended questions with a yes or no, the conversation is going to get very short. If you ask real questions that allow the customer to talk back to you in his or her own language, then you're going to get a lot further and a lot deeper in understanding where their pain is and what you can do to deliver what they need. Pipeline hygiene is really important. This allows a handoff to someone else without their having to ask the same introductory questions again of your customer. Those repeating the same questions really annoys everybody, so let's not do that. If you have a clean pipeline hygiene, there's going to be notes there, there's going to be really good prep there's going to be some summary of what they felt happened in the previous conversation, and there's going to be a clear path to the next conversation, no matter who has it. You're going to be using the same language. You're going to be using the same visuals. You're going to be talking about the same potential solutions. So this really helps. Doesn't cost you anything. Just have to practice discipline in this area. It makes a huge impact. My next recommendation is to shorten the feedback loop. It doesn't need to wait for quarterly reviews. What you want is as close to real-time coaching as you can. There's a lot of AI tools out there that can help you record the conversations, and it'll bring up a lot of clarity about what the value of the conversation was, who talked more. Obviously, you want your customer talking more, and what the language was that was used. And there's also, it can bring up flags on what needs to be noticed and addressed. So the quicker you have this feedback loop for each of your reps, the higher the potential for improvement, right? If you're waiting more than 2 weeks, you're losing this potential. And, you probably have brilliance to share as well. So why not share it more frequently and let your team benefit from it? Again, this isn't a cost. This isn't buying a tool. This isn't buying a platform. This is implementation of feedback from what you've heard in their calls. It can be golden. Another way to implement something that doesn't cost you anything and has enormous potential to raise the performing quality of your team is the peer coaching. You have extraordinarily well-performing reps right now. You should leverage them to help your middle-performing and lower-performing reps. You want to be intentional about how you do this. But if you tell your highest performing reps that this is like recognition of their high performance, and you give them the opportunity not just to share how they won, right, but also exactly why they said what they said, like deconstruct their presentation of the deck, deconstruct their presentation of the visuals, Have an in-depth conversation about how they ran their discovery conversation. Find out how they open their open questions, how they respond to their active listening. Do they take notes while they're talking? Are they relying on the recording? Or are they just like connecting things in their mind because they have the experience and the ability to do it? And the more you do this, you're going to build up, first of all, your content library for sure. And reps really respect other reps sharing their knowledge. So yes, oftentimes there's some issue about competition. Like if I give away my trade secrets, I'm going to not. No, you want to create a culture that people are sharing their knowledge. And, a rising wave for everyone, for everyone's benefit. So try to take away the sting of the competitiveness with each other and make the competitiveness with other companies. It's great to be number one in the team, but not at the expense of actually building a team that can rely on each other, that can go to each other for, generous knowledge sharing. And that's what it is. You want to inspire generosity of knowledge sharing from the winners to those that want to become winners. So the next thing I want to recommend is an audit. There's a lot of time sales people spend on activities that aren't selling. Well, have a conversation with them. Find out what it is that they're doing that they don't actually enjoy doing and figure out a better way to do it. If there's a tool that they're told they have to use and it's just wasting their time, it's hard to get into, it's hard to make it save, you have to go through all these clicks to make it actually work, get rid of it. Even if it's a sunk cost, put it to the side for the moment so that the sales rep knows that you listened to what they complained about and you actually took action. So they feel very supported. And also, to be truthful, it's going to make your team a lot more efficient. It's too much noise in the process. It's not good. You want to execute on clarity. So take out the tools that aren't really supporting your team, and you'll look like a hero. Another good one is to celebrate behavior that's not necessarily a number on your dashboard. Call out a behavior that a rep prepped really well. A rep listened to feedback and incorporated it immediately. Call out behaviors that there was follow-up, that there was a smooth handoff to sales, post-sales, pre-sales to sales. You want to celebrate these things because you're creating a culture of generous celebrations. It makes people feel really good about what they're doing. And also you want to model behavior that you want to keep going on the team. So these are 5 things that can really move the needle for your team and also create a better culture and also create a better relationship between sales leadership and amongst the team itself. Something you really want to think about doing. What's really great about all of these ideas is that they're based on consistent execution. And consistent execution, as we've seen at some very successful companies like Apple, like Seagate, consistent execution is a system. And you could build that system in for your team. It really magnifies success, minimizes the losses, and builds a team that is remarkable in its execution. Clarity wins every day.